Hi, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Behind the Curtain. I'm Lauren Hillman with THEATRIX Youth Theatre Society, and today I'm interviewing Jessie Cox. Hi, Jessie.
Hello. Hi, Lauren. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm glad you could join us. Would you mind, Jessie, before we say anything else, could you start by just telling us what job you have as a performing artist?
Yes. So for the past 7 years, I've been performing primarily in musicals, so on stage, singing, dancing, and acting. I also do a little bit of TV and film and also voiceover for animation and commercials. And then I also work for a company called the Smile Theater Company. And what we do is we go into long-term care facilities and we bring professional theater to people who can't get out to see it anymore.
Oh, that's fantastic. What brought you to that, Jessie?
Yes, so I first worked for Smile Theater in 2015 as a performer, and right from my first show, I knew that that was where I was meant to be. That my whole artist career thus far had led to that, and I kept working for them as a performer and getting more involved with the planning and a little bit of writing and booking performances. And as a result, I've now started up a company out in Kingston to branch off of the original Toronto company.
That's fantastic. You said that you felt like kind of everything had led you to this in a way. So let's go backwards in time and talk about how you started. What was your first introduction into the theater world?
Yes, so it all started with a report card actually from elementary school, where my teacher told my parents that I had a very active imagination and liked to talk a lot, and I should find some kind of creative outlet. So my uncle actually was taking pictures for Pied Piper that Theatrics did when I was about 6 years old, and he brought my mom and I can still remember the performance. I fell in love with it, and the next spring, I was doing the show Somebody Loves Me, which is one of the school tours.
So, you are someone who got started with theatrics and now has made a professional career of it. Why don't you walk us through the steps you took to go from doing your first play with theatrics to making an actual career of it? What were some of the steps you took along the way?
Yes, so I did a lot of theater with theatrics. I counted the other day 25 shows in total. So lots of experience through that. And I also took singing lessons, dance lessons. Over time, I also did one-on-one acting lessons as well. I was very lucky to get to work with the Arts Club Music Theater Intensive in Vancouver. And as a result of that, I found out about Sheridan College in Oakville, Ontario, which is where I did my bachelor's degree.
So you ended up going into university for acting. So what are classes that you would have taken in university?
So at our school in particular, to be fair, a lot has changed in the last few years when it turned into a degree, but it's very conservatory based, which means a lot of your classes are hands-on. So you're doing dance 3 to 5 times a week. You are on your feet doing monologues for your class 2 to 3 times a week, and you get individual singing lessons and group singing lessons. A lot of it now is that plus uh, quite a bit more academic classes where you have to work on composing an essay and making an argument. And also, actually, they've also introduced a lot about creating your own work and the importance of that in the industry. If you want to work, you've got to be able to do a lot of different things.
Yeah. So tell us then, what are some of those things? What are some of the skills that a kid would need to develop to go into acting other than just getting better at acting, singing, or dancing?
The biggest thing I will say is being flexible and very self-motivated. I In order to break into the industry, you need to be making sure that you are keeping up to date with what's going on in your community, seeing what auditions are out there. No one, it's not like school where you have a set schedule. So you have to really be disciplined with yourself and create a schedule for yourself to keep on top of things. Other skills, we were talking earlier about in the touring shows how you create a show, but you don't necessarily know what the space is going to look like. So you have to be able to think on your feet and be adaptable, because that happens a lot in the industry as well. Not all performances are in theaters. Actually, very few are, to be honest now. You're in a restaurant or on a street corner and things like that. So flexibility is definitely key.
So, I want to talk a little bit more about your theatrics experience and some of the memorable moments that you had growing up doing theater. Is there a moment in particular that really inspired you to go into this?
I was about 11 or 12, and I'd been working with Deb at Theatrics for 5-ish years, and she asked me if I would like to be a part of a show called The Miracle Worker. And she explained the story of Helen Keller to me, which I'd been learning about in school, and I was quite interested in that, and I got to learn some sign language, and we did that show together, both in our community and also at Theatre BC. And I took myself a lot more seriously in that moment, especially as a young person, to feel the weight of what I was able to do with a performance and how people responded to the work that we as a company were able to do. The message we were able to bring across was very powerful. And that was the first moment I realized it's not just I get to come have fun, it's I can make a difference with what I'm doing.
What happened after Miracle Worker? What other shows did you do? What other awesome moments did you have?
I absolutely loved doing Little Women as well. So that was also a show I got to do with Deb. She played my mom, and we had the four girls, and it was me and three of my dearest friends, and it's such a beautiful story. And Peter Bando did beautiful, beautiful music of it, and we got to do it twice, and it was just fantastic. It's one of my highlights in theater still to this day.
Are you still friends with kids that you did theatrics with way back?
Oh, yes.
That's amazing. So tell me a little more about the work you've done now professionally. After theatrics, after university, what are some of the professional gigs that you've had that have made a difference for you?
Yeah, I've been really lucky. I count myself as one of the lucky ones, really. Within a short amount of time, I got to work across the country in some pretty notable places with very notable people, to the point where my very first performance was at a company called Young People's Theater, which was fantastic. So we got to perform for kids every single day, but they came to us as opposed to us going to them. And it was Annie, and Miss Hannigan was played by Louise Petra, who is like, the it woman of Canadian music theater. And so that was quite exciting and nerve-wracking, especially on my first day of my first, professional show, to see her and get to watch her work. And she was just amazing.
What did you learn just from watching her?
She played so much. We were doing Little Girls, and they basically said, "Here's a doll, sing through the song." And to see her examine it and move around with it, and she wasn't worried about what was going to work or what made sense. It was almost it was just so natural that and some things didn't work, but she just would use it towards the next thing, and that's how she blocked that song, and my jaw just fell to the floor.
I just want to know if there's anything that you would like to say to Deb. She's retiring as artistic director from theatrics. And so do you have any just last words for her?
Oh, oh my gosh, I have all the words for you, Deb. I'm just so grateful. I literally wouldn't be where I am without you. You gave me my start. You believed in me. You gave me a million opportunities that no kids ever get. I was playing these roles that were so interesting and intricate, and getting amazing direction and trust. So much trust from you, that you believed in my abilities, and I just couldn't have done it without you. Thanks, Deb. I love you.